Good morning. Good morning, Annie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone else who joins us or watches the replay. I'm privileged to have Annie here, Annie Bourke, who is an international animal communicator. She teaches people all around the world, mentors people on how to communicate with your animals. Before I hand over to Annie, I just want to say that this is Entrepreneurs Gold Nuggets. I have interviewed entrepreneurs in this series, and I ran one. So this is series 2. I ran one a couple of years ago, and I stopped it. And I'll explain. Being an entrepreneur and an owner of business takes courage, right? And I did run another one. Then I stopped it for a gap and focused on other things. And then my dad passed away over a year ago, and he was really a true entrepreneur before that word was even used. When I grew up, I didn't even know that word. And he taught me many, many things in business and about being a business owner and an entrepreneur. So after he passed away, in honor of my dad, I decided to restart this series, Entrepreneurs Gold Nuggets, because he taught me many gold nuggets during my childhood while I was growing up. So that was what I wanted to explain, and I'm really privileged and honored to have Annie here to explain a bit about her journey that she's taken as she's got her business up and running, and what challenges and what learnings Annie has encountered as she's gone through the process. So Annie, welcome. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Karen. And yes, I can remember you in some of your workshops talking about what an inspiration your father was, particularly telling you that you could do anything, like that
Right.
there's just no limits. And I think it's just so wonderful to have been brought up in an environment like that where you could do anything that you wanted. So, but thank you for having me as a guest today.
Yes. Yes. Well, Annie, you are, I've never interviewed anyone else who does what you do and who has that ability to communicate with animals. So it's a special interview for me as well. So I'd really like to ask you to start by openly, I'm not going to give you any structure, but openly talking about from wherever you want to in your life. You know, it might be when you were a child and you discovered that you were different or that you had some special abilities, or it might be when you started your business. Wherever you want to start, just tell us a bit about yourself and help the audience to understand who you are.
Okay, thank you. My earliest connection with animals goes back to when I was 18 months old, and I was on holiday with my family, and I actually snuck out of the accommodation room I was staying in to go out and look at the birds, and my family had no idea where I was. And I
Oh,
was just there looking at the birds. So I've just had this lifelong affinity with all sorts of animals. Particularly cats and bears. So wherever I go, I always have to go and see cats and bears. I've got a photo of me aged 4 feeding kangaroos for the first time, and sort of just no fear, just wanting to interact and connect with them. And when I was a young child, I just knew that our cats could understand me. And I actually used to say to them, I wish I could speak cat because I wanted to know what they wanted to tell me. And it was just so frustrating. I do understand that when we are very young, we automatically can communicate telepathically with animals. So we just know what they're saying, but something happens as we grow up and we stop doing it. But we can reactivate that ability. And that's what I help people to do now with my mentorship program, so they can talk to animals living and in spirit. So really my journey with telepathy started when one of my little cats passed away, and she wasn't very old, and she just suddenly passed away after a short illness. And it just made me feel that I had missed out on getting to know her because I didn't know how to talk with her. So she's the one who inspired me to start this journey. And it's interesting because I've spoken to her in spirit since. She's got no grudges that I couldn't talk to her. She knew it was my life purpose to be an animal communicator and an animal medium. And it was her purpose to guide me to do this work. So, mission accomplished for her. And I've had
Mm.
numerous conversations with her since. And that's the joy of being able to communicate with animals, that you can reach out to animals that have been in your life and have conversations with them, get your questions answered, and be at peace with their passing. And that's a big part of what I do. But when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. I had two very patient cats with me at the time who became my teachers, and they just taught me so much and continue to teach me from the other side, even though they've both reincarnated. So I'm very fortunate that I've had all of this animal support around me. And it just sounds weird when I tell people what I do, and they just kind of look at me like, I've never met anyone like you before, or,
Mhm.
but you look so normal. So I'm supposed to
Mm.
look really strange.
Yeah.
Uh, so when I first started, a lot of the conversations I had with animals, people just wanted to know, are they happy? Do they want different food? Do they want different toys? How would I feel if I get them an animal brother or sister? But over time, which has been 14 years now, the conversations have got a lot more profound. Animals have taught me about soul reincarnation, which I had no idea about until one of my cats let me experience that. And now it means that when I have a conversation with an animal, I can ask if it's their destiny to reincarnate. And if it is, then I can find out the details so that their parents can reunite with them again. And that's just phenomenal for families dealing with grief, knowing that their animal soul is coming back to them in a new body. So I'm just so grateful that my cat let me experience that, because it meant that I know personally now what it feels like to hold your animal in your arms again when you think that that's never going to happen again, and be able to help people. But they're also now teaching me a lot more about their spiritual purpose. And some of our animals are very evolved beings. And if you've never had a conversation about animal communication before, this can sound quite bizarre. But I just ask that you listen with an open mind, because animals may have had previous lifetimes with you as a human or an animal. Some of them are very evolved souls, and they're carrying a lot of wisdom, and they're in our lives to help us. And so I'm fortunate my cats are here to help me with my spiritual work. They understand crystals, they understand healing. There's a lot of concepts about life and reality that they've taught me to include in my books so that those messages get out on a global scale. So it's just more and more learning every conversation that I have. It's totally changed my understanding of reality. I've had to rethink now
Mm.
about life
Mm.
after life, and
Mm.
the fact that we have such long soul connections with these beautiful beings that have chosen in this lifetime to be with us as an animal.
So, Annie, thank you for that introduction or that explanation. And there's so many things that I've thought of while you were talking to ask. Um, One of the things I know people would want to know, and you've explained it in either one of your webinars or to me when we've been chatting, is that how the question people might say is, well, how do you know the animals are speaking to you? How do you know it's for real? And how do you know that it's the animal of that parent, that animal parent? How do you know it's really that animal bringing some communication or some message to you? And I know that you've got numerous examples. So would you like to give some examples that show that you really are communicating? These animals really are communicating with you,
Yeah.
and they are bringing a message for their loved ones. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yes, a lot of people are skeptical. That is a good
Mm.
point, because it just sounds bizarre. And with telepathy, you actually hear the voices in your head. So it's not audible in your ears. I wish I could somehow record it so that people
Right.
could hear what their animals sound like. But I connect with animals energetically. I get people to send me a photograph of their animal, so I just need to see their face, no one else in the photo, and their eyes
Mm-hmm.
open, and I tune into their frequency, their energy. I have to ask for consent to have the conversation because it's a free will choice for animals.
Yeah.
I can't force them to talk, and I can't
Yeah.
force them to answer certain questions. But
Yes.
every domestic animal I've spoken to has wanted to connect with their human parents and answer their questions, because it also gives them an opportunity to pass on their personal messages as well. And yes, proof. How do I prove that I'm actually talking to an animal who's in spirit?
Mm. Mm.
It's an interesting question, but I've learnt now through conversations that animals are so intelligent, they actually give me what I now refer to as a code word. So it's a word that
Yes.
they send, that I receive, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but their parent understands it. And the first animal who did that was a blind cat in spirit. And his mum had lots of questions for him, and I was answering them. I've never met mum. She just sent me the photo, sent her questions, and I asked them. And he said the word rumple teaser. Now, I'd never heard that word before, and I thought, is he trying to say Rumpelstiltskin? But that didn't make sense with what we were talking about. So I just thought, I must be hearing things. So I just went on with the conversation. And then he said it again very clearly. So I thought, okay, he is sending me a message. I'm going to have to ask mum because I have no idea what he's talking about. So I sent her a message and I said, was he ever called Rumpelteaser? I just had this intuitive thought that it was a name, and she didn't respond for a while. And then she said, oh, I forgot all about that. And apparently, when she rescued him, he was living with a dog called Rumpel. And he used to get in trouble for teasing the dog, and he got called Rumpel Teaser. Now, he
Oh,
couldn't even see the dog, but how smart of him to send me that word, because there's no rational explanation for how that
yes.
word got into my head apart from him telling me. So it
Yes.
proved to his mum I was definitely connected to her cat in spirit, and it
Mm.
taught me to listen out and not to ignore any funny
Mm.
words because I can't
Mm.
rationally explain them. It does
Yes.
mean something. And then I had a dog tell me treehouse. And I'm thinking, why is the dog telling me treehouse? I couldn't imagine a dog climbing up little stairs into a treehouse. And so I thought, okay, that must be his code word. And I asked his mum, and she used to take him to a property called Treehouse a lot, and then just over the road from there were a whole lot of nature walks, and he walked there from when he was a puppy till just before he passed away. One of his favourite places to go. So again, that was a very important
Mm.
message for mum, reassuring her that yes, I was connected to her dog, and that was his special word for her. So for people who have never experienced it, it is weird, and it's weird hearing the voices in your head, because animals all have different voices, just like humans. So different accents, different tones.
Oh,
Some of them tell me funny stories and make me laugh, and I can hear them laughing as well. So it's just a joy having a conversation because you never know what they're going to tell me. I had a horse sing some of her answers to me, and I'd never had an animal sing to me before. So it's just amazing what they know. And I've had people say, it's a dog, it knows stop and it knows walk, and that's it. I'm here to tell you that they have extensive vocabularies. They even use words from bygone eras that we don't use in common day language now. And I understand now that these are animals that have had human lifetimes hundreds of years ago,
mm.
and they use words that they know. One of my cats was working with one of my mentorship clients, and my client had to send my cat a word and then ask my cat to send the word back again just to confirm that both parties are receiving the message correctly. My client sent my cat the word transform. So I'm waiting for my client to say my cat said that word back again. She sent back the word transmogrify. Now, to my knowledge, I've never said that word in front of her, so I didn't know how she knew it. But when I looked it up, it means to transform
Oh,
in a
wow.
surprising or
Amazing.
magical manner. So she obviously
Oh my
understood exactly
God.
what the word meant, but she's upping the ante, sending us back a word that means the same thing, but it's different. So I actually asked her how she knew the word, and apparently she was an English tutor in a bygone era, and it's a word she's familiar with. So you just learn with these conversations, and they're so
Wow.
clever when they answer a question, like when we're doing the exercises in the mentorship program. They're not just going through an academic process picking a random word that starts with the letter T. They will pick a word that can mean something significant that they're sending you a message about. So you can actually ask, why did you pick that particular word? Like one dog sent the word fence. He had to send a word starting with the letter F, and he wanted to be outside, thank you. He didn't want to be fenced in. And that was his message that he was trying to send. So it's just so interesting how they think and how they answer the questions to help you. And of course, once they know that you can communicate with them, then they can start telling you a lot of profound things. Some of them are here to teach us, like my cat, who's on the front of my first book. He actually dictated the last chapter in my recent book and told me about 20 different topics that I needed to include, because he knows how important it is to get these messages out into the world, and that people are waking up enough now spiritually that they're ready to hear and accept these messages. And that's
Wow.
phenomenal to say that your cat's helped write your book. People
Yeah.
would think I'm mad, but it's profound text that they talk. It's not just one word conversations, it's paragraphs of information and beautifully written and constructed. So, very impressed.
So, Annie, this is amazing. I knew it would be. Do you, what you just explained, has that developed to be more for you as you've gone along? In the beginning, were you
Absolutely. Yep.
okay? And
So,
how do
and
you
that's what I
find out?
feel, that on your spiritual journey, once you start taking action and you're moving forward, your gifts amplify. So one
Right.
of my spiritual gifts is clairsentience. So I can feel things. So I can actually say, I've had a couple of horse clients with undiagnosed physical conditions. So I can just say to them, can you let me feel in my body what you're feeling in your body? And then I can feel the pain and I can localize it and work out what's going on with their musculoskeletal system, and let their humans know so that they can get appropriate management for it. And sometimes they even suggest which healing modalities they would like to help them. So that's really amplified while I've been, on this journey with the animal
Okay.
communication. And I think just the depth of information that they're giving me now. I did my first live workshop in June, and I offered to participants to answer a question clairsentiently, which means that they have to ask a yes no question. I get a response in my body and I can answer the question. But I was doing this presentation in an environment of very high frequency, and I actually got a lot of intuitive messages come in as well, which I wasn't expecting. And that was just phenomenal. So I wasn't just telling the participants yes or no, I was giving them the extra information that their animals wanted to pass through to them. So I think, yes, the gifts and knowledge and ability just keeps growing as you progress on your spiritual path.
And so you're with your mentorship program, Annie, you're getting people to do actual exercises
The
during
live
the
sessions,
sessions.
yes. So they
To
get a series of little videos to watch first, and I get them
mm,
to read some of my book to help prepare their telepathic communication channel. And
mm,
then we do a series of live Zoom sessions. They don't have to have their animals in the room, but we connect with the animals. I prepare them all beforehand so they know what we're going to be asking, so they've got time to think about their answers. And then the human has to ask the questions telepathically to their animals and receive the answers back. And then we just progress through. We do gradually more complex exercises until you're getting sentences of answers at the end. And we also do mediumship conversations so that they get to connect to some of their animals in spirit. And for some of them, that is a very emotional experience because their animal may have passed over 15 years ago, like one of my clients. They'd been carrying a lot of guilt about the passing of the animal and their life. And they said after the conversation, all that guilt just flew away. It was
Mm.
just unbelievable to have that connection and know how much their animal loves them, and you can just connect with them anytime you want to. It's just a
That,
gift.
that's so, that, as you say, it's a gift that's so powerful, Annie. And so the mentorship works on both animals who, the mentorship program, you work with both animals who are still here and
Yes, in
with animals
spirit.
in spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the and it's interesting because when animals send messages, it's not just verbal messages. Yes, we can hear verbal messages, and it's so exciting to hear your animal's voice for the first time, but they can also send pictures. Now, they haven't explained the thought transference technology that they do yet, but if they wanted to send you the word love, they could send you the letters LOVE, or they could send you a picture of a heart, or they can even send you a little video snippet with a whole lot of little hearts running down. It's just
Yeah,
amazing to receive that. And they can also send emotions and feelings, so you can feel in your body
right.
what they're feeling. So we actually, the exercises
Wow.
in the program cover all those different ways of sending messages. And sometimes you just receive a message and you don't know how you've received it. Like, you're not conscious that they've said a word. It's not a picture that they've sent, but you just know what the answer is. So that's a gift called claircognizance, where you just know something and you don't know why you know it, but you do. And animals can do that too.
Wow. And so this is also, you mentioned you were working at a very high frequency recently where you were working. And of course, you know, that's my one of my interests and level of
Mhm.
expertise in what I teach around pregnancy. So how did you, can you explain what you meant? What, for me, I know my own description or my own method to change the frequency, but can you explain
I
why
actually
you
went Yeah, I actually went to a centre where they've got it set up to create the um, sense of 5D frequency and scalar frequencies. And you are
were?
in this environment, and it creates a torus of energy around you, and you're operating at that higher level. It's quite weird to be in it. And I actually invited my cats energetically to come and join me. So they weren't physically in the room, but energetically they joined. They could feel it. Like, one of my cats said that they could feel
Oh,
their DNA changing and
wow.
upgrading with being in that frequency. So very potent for
Wow.
healing, but also, as you teach with the quantum work, it's opening up the field, the potential for things to happen. And it's interesting, after the first time I went in there, all of these things just opened up for me that I wasn't expecting, but I just got
Mm,
offers to do different things that hadn't even been on my radar. So it's so fascinating to experience that.
mm, mm. Okay, and we've only got about 5 or 10 more minutes.
Hmm.
So, what I would like to ask you, Annie, is maybe what have been your biggest challenges? And because you've gone from working to creating your business, I know you might have another hat on at times and do some other work. What have in growing your business and uh, finding clients who are willing to do work with you, what are your biggest challenges? And what mistakes or what learnings have you added along the way?
Yep,
Sorry
lots of
about that.
questions there. Yes,
Yeah.
being a business owner, I had been a business owner before, but not with an online presence. So learning that has been a huge task. Like, I had to create a website,
Mm,
setting up a presence on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, connecting with people. Like, I've done a lot of networking events. Obviously, I've seen you at some of the networking events as well, live ones and online ones. And that's the beauty of being connected now on the internet, that, you can have clients all over the world. I don't need to have the animal with
mm,
me. I just need a
mm,
photograph of the animal to connect with. So I've done mentorship with clients overseas. I've been overseas and had conversations with animals in Australia, so it doesn't matter, it's very portable. But yes, it's the structuring behind it. So setting up what are the payment schemes that you use. If it's an international person, how do they pay you? When I launched my first book, I did a Facebook Live. It was my first Facebook Live. I
Uh-huh.
had my I had my publisher standing by to help, put comments in and with the links to purchase the book. And I read all the excerpts out of the book that I wanted to, and I got to the end and finished it. And there's a message saying, "Are you ready to start yet?" And
Oh,
something had happened, and I
and
was the only one who
oh,
could see it. It hadn't gone public, and I thought, "Oh wow, all
yes,
that
I
effort."
know.
So
Yes,
there's been a lot to learn, and like I didn't know anything about YouTube, about setting up a YouTube channel, how to make the little thumbnails to go on the video, how to load the video, how to get your search words to put in there so that people can find you. Fortunately, there are lots of YouTube videos on how to do all of
yes,
that, so a lot of
yes.
it's been self-help. I found some business groups that were offering like a free morning tea catch up once a week just to talk about any topic. So people were just so happy to share their wisdom and help.
Mm,
So, finding people that are happy to mentor you and give you advice is invaluable. Finding business mentors and spiritual mentors has been a bit of a challenge. Some of them have been really helpful, some of them not so helpful. And that's just a learning curve as well. But it's
mm,
having that presence, working out what do your clients really need, what is their pain point, and being able
mm,
to reach them. What I do is very emotional work, like answering these questions, like why did my animal
yes,
pass away? Was it their right time? Did I do the right thing?
yes.
So it's being able to connect on that emotional level and to write in the books and in my posts to let them know that I've been through that myself and I understand what they're going through. I've got a lot of empathy, got a lot of compassion, but I also have the ability to help them with their pain and to help them get through that, particularly grieving animal parents. Just being able to get their questions answered, and knowing if they're coming back again, that just makes a total difference. So a lot of it's been
Mm,
how to connect with people as well. And yes, building relationships is such an important part of business. And a lot of my
yes.
clients come back with, whether it's the same animal and they've got more questions later on down the track, or new animals, or when they're close to passing away and they want to know what their end of life preferences are. So I can ask animals, do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? Do you want anything in particular with you? What
Mm,
kind of memorial would you like? And it's easier asking those questions in advance so that you can honour what your animal wants to do.
mm.
So yeah, lots
Wow.
of different business things to work
Yes.
out. And I didn't know any of this at the start, so
Mm,
it's been a huge learning curve,
mm. Yes.
working out how to do things. But thank goodness there are lots of resources around and lots of people that you can ask for help.
Yes, that's true. And it has been, by the sound of it, I can hear it's been a huge learning curve, and you have you have really transformed yourself from where you were when you first started. Let me ask you another question before ask you to share how people can access you or access your services. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received, Annie, and how did it shape your journey? Mhm.
I think one of the most profound things is building the relationships with the people. So it's not just, someone likes your post and you just give them a little heart. That's not really building the relationship. It's having that conversation and being brave enough to do that. I know,
Yes.
excuse me, some time ago I posted on someone else's post who'd lost an animal, and I just wrote about my condolences and some other information. Someone else saw that and really liked what I wrote and wrote a comment about that.
Mm,
So I sent them a little personal message. The
mm,
next thing they sent me a message back and said, I want you to have a conversation with my animal in spirit.
mm.
Now, that was just because I
Yes.
commented and made that personal connection. And I think that's so powerful. And then a lot of my work is from word of mouth.
Yes.
So, if someone's happy, then they're going to talk about what you've done and how much of a difference it's made for them getting answers from their animals. And I'll get contacted, oh, I know so and so, I want to talk to you about my animal. So that, the power of that, the social connection, the emotion of it all is just so important.
Yes, and I haven't, every time I speak with you, Annie, I think I want to have you help me communicate with my dog who passed away, and then we get busy, and so we will do that soon. How can people, if they either want to have you communicate with their animal and spirit, or learn how with your mentorship, learn more about communicating with both their animals and spirit and or their animals they are parenting now, how can what's the best way to get in touch with you?
There's two easy ways. They can go to my website, which is
Cosmic Heart.
www.cosmicheart.com.au,
Okay, can you say
and
it
they
again?
can
Cosmic, yes.
www.cosmicheartintuitive.com.au. They can
Okay,
send me a message through there, but the easiest way is just to email me directly, and that is chintuitive@bigpond.com.
okay. So
And
Annie, after we close off here, will you pop those links,
yes, I
those
will.
addresses into LinkedIn?
I
And
will.
also, we are also on YouTube.
Hmm.
I can probably I can repost them to my YouTube channel, which is Quantum Leap TV, and so this will be on both.
Hmm.
So on that note, Annie, I would love to finish off. Is there anything else you want to convey to people listening or watching the replay? I forgot to
Yeah,
ask people to say
that's
hi.
okay.
We did have a number of people registered, so I'm sure a lot will watch the replay as well. Is there anything you want a last takeaway for people?
One of the things I haven't said is that animals actually understand everything that we say, and they
Mm,
love hearing us talk. So, my message to everyone who watches this podcast is to talk to your animals verbally. They love you doing
yes.
that, and particularly if you can tell them that you love them. They know that you do, but hearing you say it is really empowering for them. So, they don't care what you're talking about, they just love knowing that they understand, and
Right.
just keep up that conversation. So even if you can't talk to them telepathically, they understand what you're saying verbally, and that makes such a difference for them.
Mm. That's wonderful, Annie. Well, thank you so, so much. It's been beautiful listening to your story and your hearing more about your ability. Every time I speak with you, it blows me away, as I'm sure it does other people who either speak with you or who hear about what you do through things like this. So thanks again. We'll say goodbye and I will close this off and I'll see you outside the studio for a minute.
Thank
Thanks for
you. Thank
joining
you,
us.
everyone, for listening.
Have a great week.